Hello and welcome to Brian Lomax Movie Talk. This is a video that I've been wanting to do for quite some time. It's been a while since I've done like a top 10, top 5 kind of thing for an actor or a director. Not sure I've even done one for an actor, to be honest, but yeah, I know I've done them for directors. But I wanted to do one on Philip Seymour Hoffman because this guy still is my favourite actor of all time. And when he passed away, for me, that was a real kind of tragic loss for the industry because this guy was just different from one performance to the next. You think about people like Daniel Day-Lewis, who's got such a wide range, but he doesn't really put much content out. He puts one film out every couple of years or so, whereas Philip Seymour Hoffman, he'd put a couple, maybe 3 films out each year, and all of those performances would be completely different from each other. So yeah, I loved this guy. I thought he was one of the best actors, the best actor in fact. Like I say, he was my favourite. And I just want to go over my personal top 5 favourite performances. Now, these aren't my favourite films. They're not my top 5 Philip Seymour Hoffman films. No, this is just about the performance. So this really does highlight his range as an actor and what he was capable of. So it's just down to the performance he gave in these films. Hoffman was, of course, the recipient of a Best Actor Oscar, Best Leading Actor. He was also nominated for a further 3 Supporting Actor Oscars, and I'm no doubt that he would have gone on to be nominated and even win more had he been with us. The first film I saw him in was Scent of a Woman. That was the first film I remember seeing him in. I remember thinking he was just this horrible, grubby little character in that, and it wasn't until I saw him in later films that I just realised that actually, that definitely isn't him. That's not his persona. He embodied that in that role. And Scent of a Woman is the film that Hoffman himself credited for really starting his career. Now, he'd done quite a few roles before that, but that was the one. He says that was the one that really got him going. He got noticed from that, and that led to other things. You look at a little bit later in his career, Twister was probably his most high-profile role at that point. Certainly the film that brought in the most money on his CV. But then he started working with Paul Thomas Anderson, and after that, well, there was no turning back, was there? From that point on, he basically had the credibility that he needed and, quite frankly, deserved. So here are my top 5 performances by Philip Seymour Hoffman. At number 5, we've got Dean Trumbull from Punchdrunk Love.
Shut up! Shut up! Now!
Now, this is the first time that I saw Philip Seymour Hoffman in the role of someone who was scary. This guy was aggressive, really, really aggressive and scary with it. You follow this character played by Adam Sandler in the film, who's a very kind of shy kind of person. He does fly off the handle in that typical kind of Adam Sandler way at times, but he doesn't really feel like a strong character until he goes up against this guy. And when this guy hurts his woman, that's when he gains the strength to say enough is enough. No, I'm not having any of it. But the role by Philip Seymour Hoffman really did require someone with the kind of ferociousness that only he was able to deliver. And he delivers it in spades. But he also delivers a little bit of humour in there, something that we'll see to great effect in other roles in this list. Which brings me to my number 4 choice, which is Gust Avrakatos from Charlie Wilson's War.
I'd like to take a moment to review the several ways in which you're a douchebag.
Yep. This film is written by Aaron Sorkin, who is my favourite writer, and he does an excellent job on the script, and he really gives Hoffman some great dialogue to chew in. This guy has tons of one-liners in this film, and he's got an attitude that is really sharp, a wit that is really sharp. You look at scenes in which he's basically owning his superiors. He's talking to his superior in his office, and they're having this banter back and to, and Hoffman's character is just literally giving better than he gets, basically. But yeah, he's a joy in this film, absolute joy to watch. Like I say, everything that comes out of his mouth is razor sharp and really humorous, but he does it with a really dry wit. You know, he's not a guy who kind of looks like he's on a stage doing stand-up. He's just naturally funny. It kind of oozes out of him. But yeah, pin sharp up there as well. Really great character, and kind of sold on that performance by Hoffman once again. And number 3 is the character of Scotty J from Boogie Nights.
You look really good. And you look really sexy. I like your name a lot. It's really cool.
This guy is a sad sack. He is absolutely pathetic. And any actor who's going to play this part really did need to lose any sense of dignity, of decorum. They needed to put themselves out there in a way that could be quite embarrassing, and Philip Seymour Hoffman really commits to the role. You know, this is a guy who's a closet homosexual. He works within the porn industry, and he starts to fancy his best friend. And he at one point in a really cringeworthy scene, he makes a move on his friend, and it's, yeah, like I say, Hoffman commits, and some of the clothes, some of the attire he has to wear in, again, it's not going to do much for your street cred, but he goes wholeheartedly for it, and he makes a character that could actually turn out to be a bit of a caricature, a bit of a joke, in fact, someone that you care for, someone that you feel sympathy for. You know, you want to see this guy succeed. You want to see him, gain some kind of level of self-respect and self-worth. So yeah, that is a brilliant character. Obviously, a lot of that is down to the script by Paul Thomas Anderson. But without Hoffman's performance, it just wouldn't be what it is. At number 2, we've got another Paul Thomas Anderson movie, The Master. And the character that Hoffman played here is Lancaster Dodd, the said master of the title.
If we meet again in the next life, you will be my sworn enemy, and I will show you no mercy.
He oozes charisma in this, you know. He's not the prettiest looking man, so when you're playing this role, you need charisma. You need to be charismatic. You need to make me believe that you are someone I would want to follow, or part of me at least would want to follow. And you get that with this role. There is a magnetic presence about this guy, and you understand this deep connection that Joaquin Phoenix's character has towards him, and why towards the end of the film he feels like he has to go back to him. Clearly from this list, though, you can see that the relationship between Hoffman and Paul Thomas Anderson was a really great one. You know, they produced tremendous work when they worked together. And before Hoffman died, tragically, obviously, I don't really want to go into that all that much, but before he died, he'd worked on every Paul Thomas Anderson film but one, which was There Will Be Blood. So yeah, you can understand why these two felt so compelled to work with each other, and it breaks my heart that we'll never get to see that again. We'll never get to see what they could have done together in the future. And so we get down to my number 1 choice. Now remember, this isn't my favourite Hoffman film. In fact, there are many more films I would rate more highly than this. I'm not overly keen on this, though. I do think it's a very good film, but just the performance, that's what we're rating on here. This has to be his number 1, and it's the performance he got the Oscar for, which is Truman Capote from the film Capote.
Do you think that was too much?
Now, this film's directed by Bennett Miller, who I think does an outstanding job on it on that front, but he also made Moneyball, another film that Hoffman worked with him on. But this film got Hoffman 23 awards in total for this role. It was, quite a staggering feat to pick up that many awards for one role. But you can see why. He completely transforms here. There is nothing that is recognisable about Hoffman. You know, he just from the voice, from the way he carries himself, from the way he dresses, which obviously is down to the costume department. But yeah, you know, he commits to it, and the voice that he puts on, again, it's something that it's a risk. You take that risk, you could come off sounding completely stupid. People might just not tune into it. it's too weird, but it doesn't work that way at all. You completely buy him as this character. Yeah, absolute commitment, no vanity whatsoever, just goes for it. If it's about bringing truth to that character, then Hoffman was there. That's what he was about, and that's what every great actor should be about. So yeah, there you go. That's my top 5 favourite performances by Philip Seymour Hoffman. But what are yours? What are your favourite roles of his? What are your favourite films of his? Please do comment below and let me know. Let's talk about Hoffman and let's celebrate the greatness of this guy as an actor. Until next time, cracking.